It's time to play high ability or liability. And that's what we're going to do here in the National Football League. Lot of backup quarterbacks playing, and that's kind of been the theme of the season because everybody kind of asks, Will, why is the scoring down? Is it the quarterback play? Is it the offensive line play? Maybe a little bit of both, I think.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's more the quarterbacks. The quarterbacks just, it's funny. I think you go back and you look at the drafts, like there's a bunch of drafts that are just whiffs where guys will be coming into their prime, whether it's 2015, Winston and Mariota, 2016, Goff is okay, but Wentz isn't really, a factor in the league. A few years ago, that draft with Lance and Fields and Zach Wilson, like the Bradys and the Mannings and the Breezes retired, and we don't have that next generation to fill in. It doesn't really get to the core of why these quarterbacks aren't playing well, whether the college game doesn't translate to the NFL game, but certainly has certainly been an issue here. But hey, it makes the totals lower, it makes the teasers better, so there are ways, I think, to profit from it.
Yeah, and one game we talked about with that low total and the teaser option, that is the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cincinnati Bengals. It is going to be a JB starting for the Cincinnati Bengals, but it's not going to be Joey Burrow. It's going to be Jake Browning, the former Washington Husky quarterback. He's got to stay focused on this, even though I'm sure he'll have at least one eyeball on the Apple Cup on Saturday for his alma mater. Former Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Year. Has been with the Bengals, has been in this system, though, since 2021. Only has played 2 games this year. Had never played in an NFL game, though, even though he's been part of this roster since 2021, Will. So, look, I lean Cincinnati here. I just think that he's had a couple extra days of prep. He has, like I mentioned, been in the system in terms of knowing what to do. So he got put in a tough situation against Baltimore, and they were already down. I know he was kind of a little bit shaky in the second half, but this time he has a little bit of time to prepare, having played Thursday night, so those couple days can't hurt. So I'm not saying long-term for this, but I'm going high ability for Jake Browning against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
You know what the hell? You talked me into it. I'll go high ability too. He at least has some weapons. It's not like you're putting him on the Giants behind a terrible offensive line, no receivers. He's at least got some receivers to throw the ball to. I don't know if we have any clarity about Higgins. I have to check, but at least he's got some weapons, some guys to throw to. And the Steelers, you can throw it on them. I think the Steelers, they have this reputation, the steel curtain. It's this great defense. They're not great in the secondary. They got some players up front. Watt's obviously a game-wrecking player, but you can move it on them through the air. We saw Love do it. We saw a lot of guys throw the ball on him. So you talked me into it. I'll go high ability here with Mr. Browning.
Yeah, and Minka Fitzpatrick has been battling that hamstring issue for Pittsburgh. And so, Keanu Neal, safety, just went on IR with the rib injury. So, yeah, I actually do think you could throw it on him. We'll see if T. Higgins gets back with that hamstring injury. Obviously, Chase did play in Baltimore, so we'll see if Cincinnati's at full strength. I do kind of like the Bengals here. Meanwhile, let's go to the Black Friday game. And look, I've said I don't like the NFL on Black Friday. I think there's just so many other things going on. It's like, take a day off, Shield, but they're not going to this year. And we're going to have an AFC East matchup on Friday afternoon, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern. The Miami Dolphins and the New York Football Jets. Dolphins 7-3, Jets 4-6. Zach Wilson has been sent to the Pine. It is Tim Boyle now for the New York Jets that is going to be, I guess, starting for the rest of the season. That seems like this is probably his show for the rest, that maybe they finally seen enough out of Zach Wilson, but it is Tim Boyle who is going to be getting the start, the former Packer, former Lion, former Chicago Bear, and now current New York Jet. So, Will Hill, I pose it to you. You're right there in New York, so you follow this team closely. Tim Boyle, high ability or liability against the Miami Dolphins on Black Friday?
Well, I actually live in Connecticut, which is one of Tim Boyle's other stops at University of Connecticut Husky.
UConn, yes.
Where he had a 1-touchdown, 13 interception season. Liability, I will say major liability, but why this game moved like 3.5 points off of the move from Wilson to Boyle, I don't understand. Is Zach Wilson like 3.5 points better than anybody? That's a strange one to me. That doesn't make a lot of sense. But liability, I can't imagine this will go well. It'd be interesting if he really struggles and it's bad, like really bad. Do they just leave him in there? Do they go back to Wilson? Like, I don't I don't think it's Strevler for a while. Like, is there another option? It's interesting, but I can't imagine he would play well in this spot.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Even though I think 10 is high on Miami, and this is a little bit of an overreaction. I know how explosive their offense is. I know the Jets have been banged up. Look, I don't want to bet the Jets. I really don't want to bet the Jets here, but
I think they're trying to protect teasers. I think that's
yeah,
probably what
I think so too. I think that's a good point
Just,
because I think the true line here is probably 8.5. You are seeing some 9.5s out there, so that's a good point. When you see this jump, it is not necessarily just action on that. It is teaser protection because look, a lot of favorite easy teasers, and on Thursday, especially with Detroit. You can tease that down through the 3 and the 7. San Francisco, you can tease down to 1. Even Dallas, even though that's a kind of a wonky number at 11, you can certainly tease it at least under a touchdown. Yeah, a lot of big favorites that you can tease down this week. Kansas City, not so much teaser protection now. That's down to 8.5 with their loss last night. So that's another leg that books are going to want to get rid of this week. So I'm with you, liability, but I do not want to lay. I do not want to lay 10 with the Dolphins, and I'm certainly not going to be able to. Meanwhile, let's go to another game involving a New York team, and that is, how about Danny DeVito? Looked great last week for the New York Football Giants against the Commanders. Now he's playing the Patriots. He's getting 3 at home. There are still some 3.5s with Vig out there. Total 33.5. Can Tommy DeVito be high ability once again, or his usual liability?
This is liability. It's still Belichick. I mean, you can say what you want. He's lost his fastball. You say whatever you want about Belichick. It's still Belichick against Tommy DeVito. I'll go with Belichick. I don't think this is pretty. I'd be interested in a Giants team total under. I mean, I don't think the Patriots should be laying 3.5 to anybody, so I'm not laying the points here. Maybe a Giants team total under, though. I mean, do you feel any differently? Do you think DeVito plays well, shows out here behind a bad offensive line without a lot of weapons? Here's the thing. Washington let Barkley beat him. That's the one guy that can beat you, and Washington let it happen. I don't think the Patriots are going to be that dumb where they let that happen. They're going to take Barkley away and say, hey, somebody else can beat us.
Yeah, I don't think so either. This might be a Giants teaser, even though it's not through a key number, but with the low total, 33.5. Look, we'll see who's going for the Patriots. If it's going to be Mac Jones, who was benched last time out
I don't think
on a game-winning drive. Yeah, so I've got a feeling that you're going to see Bailey Zappi. Bailey Zappi against Tommy DeVito. Man, what great football we've got here in Week 12.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.